Here's the problem. If you wait, Texas law can shut your case down, and critical evidence, like black box information, video evidence, and driver's logs, can go missing in days, not months. My name is Max the Axe, the gold standard in personal injury, and in this video, I'm going to talk to you about what real deadlines are at play here, what special exceptions and notice rules might shorten those deadlines, and what you can do to make sure that you protect the evidence and protect your case. Watch this video to make sure that you don't miss those key deadlines, that you keep your case alive, and you make sure that you get your medical bills, your pain and suffering, and your lost wages paid for. Understanding your deadline, the statute of limitations in Texas. Let's get right to what matters. You've been hit by an 18-wheeler or a big commercial truck, and you're wondering, how long do I have to bring a claim? The main deadline is called the statute of limitations, and if you miss it, your right to recover anything, medical bills, pain and suffering, lost wages, could be gone for good. This is a huge deadline that you won't be able to get around with an excuse or a good story. The court does not care why you waited. They only care if you filed the claim in time. So how long do you have? In Texas, most cases are 2 years, from the date of the incident until the day that you file your claim in court against the proper defendants. That all sounds pretty simple, but the truth is that there are a lot of exceptions and details that might apply in your case, details that matter critically when it comes to these deadlines. If you wait too long, even by just 1 day, your entire case can be thrown out, and I've seen it happen firsthand. The basic rule: 2 years from the accident. Here's how it works for almost everyone. You get 2 years from the date of the truck accident. That's not 2 years from the date you started feeling injuries or from the date that you realized that you had to file a lawsuit. It's 2 years from the truck crash itself. Let's make it real with an example. Let's say that you get hit by a delivery truck on August 16th, 2025. So in that case, you have until August 16th, 2027 to file your case in a Texas court. If you file on August 17th, 2027, your case will almost certainly be dismissed. Notice that I'm saying file a lawsuit, not file a claim. People often use these words interchangeably, but they mean different things. Filing a claim is when you talk to the insurance company, when you give them all of your information, you send them medical records and medical bills, you negotiate with them, you have a claim set up. Filing a lawsuit is when you file legal paperwork with the Texas courts, which locks in your case as long as it's before the statute of limitations. So please remember, talking with the insurance company, sending them information, or negotiating a settlement, that does not count as filing a lawsuit. The only thing that matters is when you file the paperwork with the court. If you haven't filed anything with the court, you haven't stopped the clock. Why you shouldn't wait until the last minute. You might be thinking, 2 years sounds like a lot of time, but a truck accident isn't the same thing as a fender bender with your neighbor. Big truck companies have teams of lawyers and insurance adjusters that will be working for them around the clock. They'll often start working before you ever get out of the hospital. If you wait too long to get started, evidence can disappear. The memories of witnesses will fade. The videos will go missing or get erased. The truck might even get sold. All these things make it much harder for you to tell your side of the story, even if you file the lawsuit on time. I once worked with a client, we'll call her Maria, who was rear-ended on I-35 by a big 18-wheeler truck. She waited almost a year to talk to an attorney because she was focused on her injuries and getting better. When we finally started investigating, key video evidence from the gas station across the street had already been overwritten, and a key witness had changed their number and was not responsive. We were still able to help Maria, but her case would have been a lot stronger and could have settled a lot faster if we had been able to preserve those key pieces of evidence. Can the deadline ever be extended? There are a few rare circumstances where the statute of limitations can be paused or tolled, but I wouldn't count on it. Let's talk more about these common exceptions. 1. If the crash victim is a minor. If your child was injured in a truck accident, the 2-year clock doesn't start ticking until their 18th birthday. So in that case, if a 12-year-old is injured in a truck accident, they have until their 20th birthday to file a lawsuit. But even then, waiting is risky because evidence disappears in time. Number 2, if the injured person is mentally incapacitated. If someone is not able to manage their own affairs because of a serious head injury or a mental health condition, the court might pause the clock until they're legally able to act. But as soon as they recover or someone else is appointed to act on their behalf, the clock starts ticking. Number 3, if the trucking company leaves Texas. If the driver or company moves out of state and can't be found, sometimes the courts will pause the statute of limitations. But tracking down a defendant across state lines can be tough, and this exception rarely helps in the real world. These exceptions exist to prevent outright unfairness, but they don't apply in most situations. You should never assume that one of these exceptions applies to your case. If you're not sure or you have any questions, you should always pick up the phone and call an attorney. What if you're suing the government? Was it a truck that was owned by the city or a government employee that caused the crash? If that's the case, the rules are totally different and not in a good way. For claims that are against the state of Texas, a county in Texas, or the city, you often need to send written notice to that governing body. Each governing body has different rules, but in many cases, you have to make sure they receive the letter in as little as 60 or 90 days. If you miss that notice deadline, your case could be over before it begins, regardless of how hurt you are. Let me tell you about a case that we saw in Sugar Land. A garbage truck swerved and hit a parked car, injuring the person inside. The family didn't realize that they had to notify the city within 6 months. By the time they came to us, all we could do was explain that there was nothing that we could do. It's a really tough conversation to have, and it happens more than you think. So if your wreck involved a city vehicle, a school bus, a metro bus, or any government-operated vehicle, contact a lawyer immediately. Do not wait. If your loved one was killed in a truck accident, first let me say that you have my deepest sympathies. The timeline for this is still 2 years, but in this case, it is 2 years from the date of the death, not the date of the accident, unless those two are the same date. For example, if your brother was seriously injured in a truck crash, but passed away from those injuries 3 months after the crash, the date that you have to file a wrongful death lawsuit would be 2 years after the date of passing. This is a narrow and important distinction, but it can help how your claim is handled. Common mistakes that cost people their case. Now let's talk about the most frequent ways that people blow the deadline. The most common one is believing the insurance company. They say things like, let's keep working together and you don't need to hire a lawyer, we can work this out. Number 2, assuming that your injuries will go away on its own, only to discover months later that you still have the neck or the back pain that was there because of the crash. Number 3, waiting to finish all of your medical treatment before you set up a claim or file a lawsuit. Number 4, not realizing that the driver who hit you was driving on behalf of a company, which changes who you have to sue and how much insurance money is available. And finally, number 5, confusing filing a claim with the insurance company with filing a lawsuit in court. If you take just one thing from this video, let it be this. Do not trust the insurance company when they tell you anything about how much time you have or if you need a lawyer. Do not rely on them to tell you about what your legal rights are. Their job is to protect the insurance company and pay as little money as possible to injured people like you. What should you do right after a truck accident? If you're within days, weeks, or even months of the truck accident, here are the 5 things that I recommend. 1, write down the date of the accident and set reminders well before the 2-year period expires. Number 2, gather as much evidence as possible. Photographs, police reports, your own notes about the pain or time missed from work, keep it all. Number 3, get medical attention immediately, even if you feel mostly okay. That small pain or stiffness, any difference that you have after the crash can get worse in the days following the accident. Many injuries, especially from truck accidents, can show up hours or days later. Number 4, don't give any recorded statement to the insurance company without talking to a lawyer. And finally, number 5, consult a personal injury attorney as soon as possible. Most of us offer free consultations, so there's no risk to asking questions. The sooner you act, the better chances you have of getting a fair result. So how long do you have? My honest advice. You have up to 2 years after a truck accident to file your lawsuit in court, but every week that you wait makes it harder to win. The clock doesn't pause if you were confused or if you had hope or the insurance adjuster told you something. If you're watching this weeks or months after the crash, act now. Sometimes people come to us with just days left, and we have to scramble to get all the paperwork in place. Don't let that be you. And remember, if a government vehicle is involved, or you're helping a child who is injured, or someone with mental incapacities, the rules do change. Take control of your future. Don't let time run out. To recap, Texas gives you 2 years from the date of the accident to file your lawsuit in court, unless there are special protections like government vehicles that can shorten that time frame. But in any case, waiting is never in your favor. The smartest move is to talk to a lawyer early, get all of your questions answered, and make sure that you're not quietly running out of time. If you found this video helpful, you're going to want to watch our next video. How long will it take to settle my accident claim? In that video, I break down exactly what happens when you start your claims process and what you can do to help speed it up. Don't miss it. Knowing these things can save you months of time and a lot of headaches. I'll see you over there.